On last week's episode of Dynamite, Kenny Omega captured the AEW Heavyweight Championship by defeating Jon Moxley. So I wanted to, on this video, do something a little bit different. I didn't want to recap the show or anything like that, but I wanted to talk about the Jon Moxley title reign and give our pros and cons about if he had a good title reign, what were the pros, the cons, the highs, the lows, and kind of give some analysis on that. So joining me, somebody who was actually in the building when Jon Moxley won the AEW heavyweight title from Chris Jericho earlier in 2020 at Revolution in Chicago. Please welcome Caro. What's up?
Hey, thanks for having me. And also forgot one thing. I also predicted the finish. I've had the finish predicted for that match for like a month. You know, the
What
eye patch.
you Oh, that. I thought you meant the finish with
Yeah,
Don
that.
Callis taking the belt to TNA or whatever, to Impact.
No, I meant with Mox in the Revolution win.
Yes, no, I agree with you that you did predict. I remember you predicting that finish. The thing with me about that is that was a big win, got a big pop. You know, he cut a great promo afterward. But me personally, I thought they were going to postpone that for the next pay-per-view. I thought they were going to wait till Double or Nothing. This was right before the pandemic shut everything down.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm the complete opposite as you. I wanted Mox to win then and there. I was like, there's no way. The way they were building Jericho and Moxley, there's no way that they're going to extend it like 2 or 3 more months into like Double or Nothing. And like you said,
Right.
like the pandemic happened like 2 or 3 weeks after that. I'm glad that he won the title like at Revolution.
Blood and Guts. You were supposed to go to Blood and Guts, and that whole thing got
Yeah,
canceled.
I was supposed to go to Blood and Guts, but that's not happening.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to
Or that didn't
WrestleMania.
happen.
WrestleMania got canceled.
I was also supposed to go to Wrestle Dynasty and a lot of other events.
Yeah, I was planning on that also.
Mm.
And then I told myself, you know what? Like, if they do Wrestle Dynasty, I don't care how much it costs, I'm gonna go. But it wound up not happening. So next time, maybe next year. So
Next year. I'm hoping next year.
I think with me, the thing is, and I told you this before we started recording,
Yeah.
I loved Chris Jericho's title reign as AEW champion. You know, I was actually in the building when Jericho defeated Hangman Page for the title at All Out 2019. And he's the perfect first champion. You know, he's got the credibility of WWE. He's got the legend status. He's got the great promo. I just love Chris Jericho as the heel top guy. He was doing a great job. Every single week, he was one of the guys I wanted to watch. And so I thought they should keep the belt on him longer. And it's not anything against Moxley. It's just that I just really love Chris Jericho as the heel
And
champion.
I don't blame you either because again, he's had such an entertaining reign. He's come from WWE. He has like 30 plus years of wrestling experience under his belt already. So like as much as I love Adam Page, he wouldn't have made a great first AEW champion as Jericho did just because of the name and household recognition of Jericho's name.
Also,
But yeah.
I feel like Adam Page back then, and this is how I felt for a
No,
while.
he wasn't really built up back then. Like
Yeah,
people knew him from like the Elite and New Japan and Ring of Honor, but compared to how he is now,
yeah. He
build up and potential wasn't there yet.
he also figured it out. He
Yeah.
had a rocky start, but he really figured it out in the past year, yo. And we're gonna talk about him in the future because he might be the guy to dethrone Kenny Omega down the road. But that's
I think he will. He
Yeah,
will.
I think so.
I think that's gonna happen.
You know, it's funny because the original plan that we had heard, this was back during the time of Double or Nothing. The original plan that we had heard, Double or Nothing last year, was that they were going to have Omega defeat Jericho at Double or Nothing this year and, you know, keep Jericho as champion. This is before the Moxley idea. And then have Omega finally win the title at Double or Nothing a year later after their match in Double or Nothing last year. But
I remember that. Oh my gosh.
plans change.
Yeah.
Plans change.
Yeah,
So
it changed a lot.
let's talk about Moxley's title reign. So what I think the strength of his title reign is, in my opinion, was his promos. I felt like he was delivering great promo after great promo after great promo every single week. I think Omega does have charisma, but I don't think he has the promo ability of a Jon Moxley or a Chris Jericho.
I agree
but,
with you there.
but the way he behaves on the BTE show, if he can get some, I think he'll be fine. But Moxie's special, dude, when it comes to promos, specifically promos, he was knocking it out of the park all year. What do you think?
Moxley is amazing on the mic. Oh my God. Like, even before he joined AEW, I would always tell people, like, look, he's really good at the microphone. He has amazing mic skills. He just needs to be given that creative freedom
Right.
to do it, which he wasn't getting in WWE.
Which is
He
too
has it
bad.
now in AEW.
They signed him because of his
Yeah.
promo ability. WWE didn't even use it that much.
No, which is so disappointing because I've been following Mox for like 10 years.
Right.
I know he has that potential on the mic. And ever since AEW, just fire promo after promo after promo after promo. He's so beautiful on the mic. Sometimes it makes me tear up.
A young, heavier,
Honestly, it's just the emotion. There's the raw emotion he shows. It's incredible.
a younger and heavier version of me can be seen in the crowd if you watch the Jon Moxley William Regal match from NXT, which was the match that everybody was talking about when he first got signed because it was great.
Right.
I was there, and I remember because I was happy for the guy. I was a fan of his at the time, and he was a great promo guy. We saw him in a lot of the indies, CZW. He was in Dragon Gate, I think, for a little while, and I think it was in Dragon Gate. I'm trying to remember. That era is kind of a blur to me a little bit because, like, there were so many indies back then. I mean, there still are, but I mean, getting these DVDs in the mail is just whatever. Anyways, back to AEW. What'd you think about the Brodie Lee feud? I think a lot of folks felt a bit underwhelmed by that because Brodie Lee was kind of a new guy coming in, getting a title shot, a new guy for AEW. Did you think that the Brodie Lee feud was good? Did you think it was too soon? I thought it was a little bit too soon, but the match was fine.
I think it was too soon in the sense that, like, Brodie was getting a title shot, like, a little bit after he debuted to the AEW roster. And we also consider that Mox had also had the title for a little bit.
Yeah.
The fact that people were going into Double or Nothing, and I went into that event knowing that he would retain, kind of like soured on that a little bit. It's nothing against Brodie Lee. It's just kind of like the timing of his debut and Mox getting the belt. The feud was enjoyable for what it was. I'm glad that Brodie, like, wasn't buried or anything. He's still fine with the Dark Order, you know?
Right. You know what's interesting though, looking back at AEW, company's only been around for 2 years, but one thing I've noticed about them, and I don't know if this is intentional by Tony Khan or not, but they don't really do rematches on pay-per-view. Like their pay-per-view main events, Jericho and Hangman Page, and then we had Jericho Cody Rhodes, Jericho Moxley, Moxley Brodie Lee, Moxley MJF, Moxley Kingston. Their pay-per-views, their pay-per-view main events aren't. They don't do rematches. Like I was expecting a Moxley Jericho rematch at Double or Nothing, but they don't do it. And I'm wondering if that's something that Tony Khan's doing on purpose to kind of differentiate the pay-per-views. I mean, even you and I talked about how Omega Moxley was probably going to be at Revolution. It would make sense, right? But they did it on television. They did it on free TV. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, at least they gave Moxley and Omega the time on television to do it. One thing that I did notice, and this is going into a bit of Kenny's reign, but like with Moxley Omega 2, with that match, I noticed that they were holding back a little bit.
We talked about that. They
which,
100%
yeah,
were.
we talked about it. I think it opens up another opportunity for them to face each other in the future. And I'd like to think, if you're going off Tony Khan's thinking with no pay-per-view rematches, I'd like to think that another Jericho Moxley could happen in the future. Another Moxley MJF, I don't know. Those might happen. That might be a little bit more hurtful.
I think Moxley versus Omega must be on pay-per-view, dude. Like the next one.
Oh, for certain.
It has to be because it's too big of a match. So, but okay, now back to the summer of 2020, and again, it sucks because there were no crowds, and I felt so bad for both Moxley and Drew McIntyre because, especially Drew, because Moxley was champion in the past. Yeah. This is Drew's first big title. And we don't even know if he can draw because of what happened with the pandemic. So hopefully he'll get another shot in 2021 if things get better. But with Moxley, he had the MJF feud in the summer, and I'll be honest, like MJF really this feud I think made MJF a legitimate main eventer because this guy was coming out there like Moxley, cutting promo after promo after promo. That's one thing AEW has over WWE is their promos, so they don't overscript them. AEW is significantly better in WWE when it comes to promos, and they've got guys like Jericho, Moxley, and now MJF. Dude, Meltzer was comparing MJF to The Rock, which I think is a little too far.
Yeah.
That's a little too much. But
I love MJF, but they're two different leagues, you know?
Right. Now, what do you think about this feud? Do you think it was too soon for MJF? Because at first I did think so, but I remember that weekend, there were people saying he's going to win the title, and I was like, are you sure about that? No, MJF win the. People were certain that MJF was taking that belt at All Out.
It was certainly too soon for MJF to win the belt at All Out. I'm just gonna say that because he's so young. He's like 24 years old. He has a lot, like, for his age. The way he's able to sell himself, the way he's able to get over is incredible. However, like with the AEW World Title picture, it's just too soon for him to get it. Especially like my mind for the past year, like for the past several months has been Omega's going to take the belt off Moxley. Omega's going to take off the belt off Moxley. Omega's going to take off the belt from Moxley. There's no way that anyone else but Omega is going to take the belt off of Moxley.
Made sense.
So that also meant that MJF wasn't going to win the title off Moxley anyway. So
right now, I agree. Now then we had the Lance Archer thing. Now that one was interesting because it wasn't on pay-per-view, but in the back of my head I was like, could Lance Archer be the guy? Because this guy, he's got experience and he's gotten better and better and better. He would be a guy who I would probably put the rocket on. Like I remember on my wrestling podcast, the KLB, I drafted him early. We did the KLB draft. It's our little joke draft or whatever.
Right.
And I drafted him early because I thought he could be a guy who I could actually put the rocket on because the dude's talented as hell. And him and Moxley had that awesome match in New Japan, that no holds barred match. So I'm like, okay, these guys could work well together. That was a good little feud. I expected maybe Lance was going to win, but when they announced it for television, it was like, whatever. Now, the Eddie Kingston feud. Okay, this one was something else. I have watched Eddie Kingston at multiple indie shows in my life. Same thing with Mox, but mostly, really, I see more Eddie Kingston. And this guy, I cannot believe that Eddie Kingston in 2020 got to main event a pay-per-view, a real pay-per-view, like an actual big company pay-per-view, not like an indie pay-per-view. I was so moved by that. And also the fact that Larry Sweeney, who I knew, I knew Larry Sweeney before he passed away. I went to shows with Larry Sweeney. I hung out with Larry Sweeney.
Wow, okay.
And so when they brought him up, it was really, really powerful. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm over here like, do the casual fans like know anything about Sweeney? Because he was his biggest shine was Ring of Honor, really. He never got past that level. And this is Ring of Honor back in the late 2000s. Was not Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Back when they were like peaked.
Well, yeah, they were way better
at their peak. Yeah, I can tell you that like a lot of my hardcore friends did understand like the reference. They were they
like
get it. They totally get
it. Like the newer fans, because AEW brought in a bunch of new fans too. Like, but they tried their best. These promos between Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley were
amazing.
Yeah, that was like the best thing I've seen all year when it comes to promos.
Wow.
Right.
Like the minute I saw Kingston debut on Dynamite and he just grabs the mic and just basically owns Cody pretty badly, like I was like, he needs to do a promo face off with Moxley. Oh my god, these two need to go at it, and I'm so glad they did. Like their promo before Full Gear was full.
I went to a wacky...
I love the framing of that too. Like when they're both in the ring together. I love the framing of that because it's just one camera shot.
Right.
Just focusing on those two with maybe a little bit of an adjustment of angles. But it just captured all the emotion. You don't need like 50 cuts a second. It was just all in that one shot.
Well, and that's the thing I always appreciate about like, and I hate to say this is not a detriment to the independents, but if you have well-produced wrestling, like WWE have been masters of this for years. I don't like some of the stuff they do, but if you watch their television going all the way back to the 80s, WWE have always had tremendous production. Same thing with now AEW. WCW had it too, but I always felt WWE was the king of good production. When you do something like that, when you get that shot you're talking about, that angle, like it just shows like everything you said. I don't know what to repeat what you said. Now, match quality wise though, I liked the Kingston match. I mean, I liked all of his matches. Don't get me wrong. I think probably the best match he had during his title reign was probably the Jericho one at Revolution. I felt that was the best one.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I agree with that.
Did you think he relied a little too much on the violence, though? Because I thought on the pay-per-views he did more than the television. What did you think?
I think, like, not so much on Dynamite, kind of with the pay-per-views. And I mean, when you say violence, I think of Full Gear with Kenny. I still think that's the most violent he's ever been in the
Oh,
promotion so far,
yeah.
by far, by
That
far.
that match can never be
Mhm.
duplicated again, yo.
Which I was also there live for. Oh my god,
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. So you've been to 2 pay-per-views.
I've been to 2 pay-per-views and I've been to Dynamite.
Right.
I was gonna go to All Out this year before COVID happened. I was gonna go to Philly Dynamite this year before pandemic happened.
Uh, all out. I was probably gonna go to All Out this year too
Yeah.
if it was in
Hmm.
Chicago, and I would have probably. I was gonna go to Double or Nothing because I had a bunch of friends going. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go hang out with them. A lot of friends were going to that. They were gonna have a big get together,
Well,
but
I want to go
yeah,
to Double or Nothing next year, but that again, that just depends on if
yep.
we're able to get it together.
Yeah, if they're even gonna allow fans in. I mean,
Hmm.
I live about 3 hours away from Jacksonville, so I could legitimately go to any of these shows, but I don't want to have to drive up there alone because the drive back is 3 hours and it's the middle of the night, and I hate driving in the middle of the night alone because it might rain, and I don't like driving when it
Right.
rains at night. I don't like that shit. I'm not saying that I can't do it because I've done it a million times, but I don't like doing it, so I'd rather go with somebody. But that's a different
No,
story.
I get you.
Yeah, we have. I mean, I live in the Tampa area. I don't live in Tampa, so we just got what do you call it, the baseball stadium, whatever the hell, Tropicana is doing WWE shows. I'm still calling it F, bro. 2020 WWE shows all throughout this year. Well, not throughout the year, but throughout the next few months, including the Rumble. So I'm gonna try and do that, but it's. I'm lucky to live in Florida, but I'm also unlucky in some ways because it is Florida. But Florida's great.
I would say you're more unlucky than lucky.
No, I disagree with you. Florida gets a bad rep from other people outside of Florida, but if you lived here, you'd understand why it's so great. Trust me on this one. It's awesome. Anyways, back to Moxley. So, do you think he'll have another run? I think he's got a 3-year deal with AEW, but AEW likes to have long title reigns, and if Kenny drops it to Hangman in 2020, let's just say 2021, sorry, Hangman will have another year with it. So, do you even see Moxley getting another shot at this title, or getting? I'm sorry,
if
not getting a shot, winning it.
if he wins it, it's not gonna be for a long time. That's what I'm gonna say.
You think it'll be a shorter reign this time?
It'll be a shorter reign.
I'm just
It's
wondering.
not gonna be. It's not gonna be in 2021. Certainly not gonna be in 2022. Maybe 2023, but again, that depends on the booking. I don't know.
He'll be in his 40s by then, and
Oh God, yeah.
I have this weird feeling that Tony Khan doesn't really like to book champions that are old, because I know he's got that thing where he doesn't want to be WCW. I mean, like he keeps bringing in WCW guys, but he doesn't want to be WCW, which I respect. But I just wonder like if he's gonna do that or not. I just if Moxley turns out to be one of those guys who's gonna put over younger guys and shit, like he could do that, but it might be too soon because he's in that weird he's in that weird sort of limbo where he's not that old, but he's not
Right.
that young, and he's also a good promo guy. So you want to have him featured on your television as much as possible because of that. But will he ever be champion again? Because I feel like with Jericho and Moxley, because they had the WWE rub, that's why they got the belt. Or not. That's not the only reason, but I mean that's a big reason. I think that now they've transitioned over to Kenny Omega. I think from now on, they're probably going to give it to their homegrown
Yeah.
guys,
Hmm.
right?
I feel like Jericho and Moxley were like one side of the bridge. Kenny himself is the bridge. And then
Right,
starting with Adam or whoever takes the belt off Kenny, it's going to go into exclusively AEW grown talent from then on. Like Jericho and Moxley were the foundation for the
right.
title. Kenny is like passing the torch over, and whoever gets it, like I don't know,
That's what I
they're
was
just
thinking.
gonna they're just gonna go homegrown from there.
It's just unfortunate because there were no crowds there, and it's just
I know,
can't do
I
anything about that.
know.
The thing about Drew, like I said, Drew's first big title reign, we were gonna be, dude. I was gonna go to WrestleMania with a buddy of mine who's a big Drew McIntyre fan, who we wanted to see him win the title for years. And oh my God, if he would have kicked Lesnar in that Tampa Stadium, and that place would have blown.
That crowd.
I've thought about this
Mm.
so much, and I need to let it go because it didn't happen. But damn, it would have been an amazing moment. But whatever. 2021 is on the horizon, and we'll see what AEW does. Thanks so much for being here. Please plug whatever you want to plug. Your article on Fightful. Go for it.
Yeah, so if you follow me on Twitter, that's at Miss_Mix_Miss Mix. You'll find the feature pinned on my profile, so you can find it there. But other than that, thanks for having me. I love Moxley. It was just great to reflect on that. It's great.
Yes, I know you do. I love Jericho, and I should have done one of these for him back in February. But now we're talking about it, like his reign. I just miss Le Champion, like everything.
Le Champion.
It would be so much more impactful if. And I will say this about Moxley. All right, I doubt. Look, I really doubt that Moxley is not going to chase Kenny because the character of Jon Moxley, like not the real guy. I mean, like the character of Jon Moxley, the way he's been portrayed, he's not just gonna roll over and let that title and get screwed out of that title. I mean, I feel like there has to be a rematch, even if it's on TV, because he's gonna be chasing Omega. It doesn't make sense for him just to lose and then like not do anything
and then just move on.
Right? Like
yeah,
yeah.
He's just gonna chase after him. Maybe he'll come on Impact Tuesday. That's one of my predictions. He just turns up at Impact on Tuesday. If Omega Moxley happens at if Omega Moxley 3 happens at Revolution, like
go for it.
I'm there.
Yeah, you know what? I might actually fly there, bro. Even though if it's in Jacksonville, it'll be a 3-hour. It's like a 45-minute flight. Whatever. I'd rather do that than freaking have to drive. But we'll figure that out. Anyways, one last thing before we close out. Okay, so. Did you think that Moxley losing the belt on free television was a bit underwhelming? Now I want to say this. I feel like it was a bit underwhelming. It should have probably been on pay-per-view, and it was a screw job finish. But I think the reason as to why Tony Khan and Don Callis agreed to do it on television is because I think it's because they have a bigger audience on TV than pay-per-view, and they wanted to have the big swerve with
the huge numbers
and try to transition those audience over to watching Impact on Tuesday, which is going to work for me because I don't even watch Impact. I haven't watched Impact in years, but I will watch it to see this. So that's all that makes sense to me. Other than that, it should have been on pay-per-view. But what do you think? I mean, Moxley had the title for most of the year, and he just loses it on free TV. Like, is that underwhelming to you?
I mean, at least when Mox lost the title, it was in front of somewhat of a crowd. Like, given it's not the full 14,000 people packed into like the Wintrust Arena, but at least like there was some sort of crowd energy there. And at least with Mox's loss, it wasn't just, oh no, he lost. Oh well. It was like, oh, he lost. Oh, there's an Impact crossover.
There's a big angle.
That's a screw job. It built up to more. It's building up to more.
It's a huge angle. It's going to be a huge company-wide angle if they actually do another invasion angle or at least a crossover thing. It is going to be a big deal. So ultimately, I felt different about it at first, but now that I understand why they did it, it makes sense. Anyways, now we're going to close that. Do you have any final thoughts?
Mox had a great run. As I'm so proud of him because like as much as the world's been so awful this year, despite most wrestling shows not having any crowds until like a little bit after All Out, he just did fantastic with his title reign. I'm so proud of him. I will always be proud of him.
What a mark. Anyways, I'm joking, even though I'm not.
I know you are.
Because you are. All right, I'm out. We'll talk soon.